So anyways, do you think I'm a fart head?
Well, you gotta continue your weekly news roundup.
Some people have a very strange sense of humor. What is up, my maniacs? I'm the Awesome Maniac, and today I'm bringing to you my Friday 13th Part 6 Jason Lives review. This movie was released on August 1st, 1986 and made $19.4 million at the box office. It stars fan favorite Tom Matthews replacing John Shepard as Tommy Jarvis, Jennifer Cook as Megan Garris, and CJ Graham as Jason. A lot of people tend to rank this as their favorite in the franchise, and some think it's just okay. Let's see if my opinion has changed after a rewatch. Also, stick around and you'll get a visit from someone very special. Without further ado, let's get to the characters. Starting off with the characters, I'm going to go ahead and say that this series has a very good track record when it comes to characters, and this movie is no different. I don't think there's a single bad thing about them. Even, they're all played wonderfully, even the misogynistic paintball player Bert. Although the engaged couple Steven and Annette were only there to die, that's not to say that the other characters are in this just to die, but they were literally added to add some extra kills into the movie. Sheriff Garrett is played greatly by David Kagan, as is his daughter Megan. She's a smartass and I love it. There's also another possibly gay couple in the series, which is like the second time in 2 movies. Nancy, the little girl, she's very sweet as well. Court, Paula, and Sissy make for fun, likable counselors, and Martin the caretaker is a good little comic relief. Hawes is a good character, if brief, and Vinny Guastaferro plays a very good little role as Deputy Rick Cologne. Speaking of Vinny, here's the man himself.
Hi, this is Vinny Guastaferro. I'm on the Awesome Maniacs channel. I played Rick Cologne, and you gotta know, because you know you want to hear me say it. Ya bang.
Thank you, Vinny. Love you, man. But of course, we can't forget about Tom Matthews as Tommy Jarvis. I like Tom in Return of the Living Dead, but this is the role that made him. He plays Tommy as very anxious and eager to stop Jason, and I fully believe him. I also think that's why they asked him to play Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th, the game. All of this is going to lead me to give the characters a Hangout rating. Next up, story. Starting with the story, actually before I get started with the story, I want to talk about how really good the score and the soundtrack are, because they're really good. And the sound design is pretty good too, especially when Jason crushes that one cop's head. Anyways, the story starts with Tommy and his friend Hawes attempting to dig Jason up and destroy his body, but inadvertently bring him back to life. Every single death in this movie is because of Tommy Jarvis. Tommy killed him, and Tommy brought him back to life. Jason immediately kills Hawes, and Tommy runs off to warn the police about it, but Sheriff Mike Garris is having none of it and locks Tommy up for the night. The next morning, the sheriff's daughter Megan and the rest of the counselors at the camp show up, and Tommy attempts to warn them about Jason, but Sheriff Garris is having none of that, but Megan seems to grow fond of him. Jason ends up killing the head counselors, some paintball players, Martin the caretaker, an engaged couple, Court, Paula, and Sissy, some cops, and Sheriff Garris. Tommy concocts a plan to chain Jason to the bottom of Crystal Lake, but almost gets drowned for his troubles. Megan eventually has to save his ass, and she does so by ramming a boat propeller into Jason's neck, chewing it all kinds of up. The movie ends on a close-up of Jason's eye, trapped at the bottom of the lake, but ready to kill again. I like that this movie doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a refreshing change of pace after the first 5 did exactly that. Also, this movie is just plain funny, and there's even a fourth wall break from the character Martin. This movie is also a pre-Scream Scream. Even the writer from Scream said that he took inspiration from this movie. It's also not so much scary as it is a comedy slasher. There's even a freaking car chase scene in this, for crying out loud. And there are a few tidbits that stand out from this movie, like this is the only one in the series that has no nudity, and there's a mini Nightmare on Elm Street reference from the little girl Nancy.
There's this monster, and he was after me, and he wanted to kill me.
Where?
He was everywhere.
Oh, you mean you had a bad dream?
No, it was real, just like on TV.
The RV flip scene is fucking badass and iconic, where Jason stands atop the flaming RV. Also, Sheriff Garris takes it to Jason like rarely anyone else ever has. He fucking beats him with a rock, for God's sakes. The infight with Tommy is one of the greatest moments in the franchise. There's a lot to like about this story, which means I'm going to give it an Avatar rating. With the Jason, I'm going to start off by stating the obvious. You know, he's a lot stronger in this because he's an undead zombie. And CJ Graham is utterly convincing as this unstoppable, undead, immortal killing machine of a monster. And the way that he walks forward with that power walk will make you shit your pants. As for the Jason, I'm going to give this a badass rating. As for the kills in this movie, they're mediocre and at best decent. There's just not a lot to say about them, though Sheriff Garris and Sissy's deaths are pretty gnarly. Jason just completely turns Sissy's head around, and Sheriff Garris is just split like right in half. But I'm gonna give the kills in this movie a neck snap rating. Speaking of which, here are the kills. Okay, well, let's wrap this up with the overall rating. I see why people have this as their favorite in the franchise, because there's not really a bad side to this film. Maybe the mediocre kills, but it's just, there's a lot more to like about it. Whether it's the funny and likable characters, the performances of said characters, or the terrifying Jason. All this is going to lead me to give this movie a high rainy day rating. Highly recommend it. Join me next time where things get a little bit weirder for Jason. Bye bye.
Yeah.